Requirements analysis. So when you have generated the requirement, that is what the user want, what are the stakeholders' requirements, then you have to analyze it. Okay, first draft of requirements have to be analyzed, and then we have to make the models. So the requirement models, there are different ways of doing it. So this is the first ever technical representation of a system or a software to be built. I hope you got the idea. So this requirement analysis, when it is done, which is, you can say, the refinement and cleaning and elaboration of requirements, what do we get? The first thing we get is what are the software's operational characteristics. When it will operate, what are the functions, what are the features. Then, because the software will consist of various system elements, various parts, how the interfacing will work, how they are going to be interfaced, and there will be certain constraint. That is, you have to be inside this or you cannot go outside this. In both ways, this requirement analysis establishes the constraints, the boundary that the software need to attain and must meet. So in all, if you see, this requirement analysis is all about whosoever, like the software engineer, the analyst, the modeler. So this analysis is the elaboration, stretching, cleaning, refinement on the requirement of the requirement which has been established or you got through inception, elicitation and negotiation task. And these are all the part of what? Requirements engineering. The requirements engineering, you are going to analyze it now. So there are certain types of models we are going to generate as a requirement engineer. Because if you make a big building, the models have to be seen. So there are various ways, there are various projects, there are various domains, different kinds of models can be made. For example, the scenario-based model. That is, how many actors we have, and these actors, how do they see the system? These actors' requirement from the point of view of these actors, when we make this is called scenario-based model. Then we have the class-oriented model. The class-oriented model, it defines what will be the class. That is the different class we can define the problem. And these classes are nothing but objects, because objects are the instantiation of the class. And these classes, these objects, what will be the characteristic of each class, that is the variable, and what are the functions, that is the say operations, and what are the relationship among different classes that has been found out in class-oriented model. Then the behavioral and pattern-based models. This shows that if something happens or some external event, some trigger is there, how the software is going to behave, to act, to respond. Data models, because here data is involved. So every information domain, because the data is different. So this is considered here. That is in network, what is the data and how this data is going to be presented. So this shows how data transform inside the system, like the data flow models we are going to make here. Okay. Then we have the flow oriented model. So this shows how data transform inside the system, as I said. Which data? From the data model. So the flow oriented model, it shows the functional elements of the system and how they transform the data. So flow oriented shows how data are transformed by different functions, while the data transform from one point to another, the functions are involved. So this is also being taken care here. So on the basis of this requirement modeling, this software designer, that is the person who is going to design the software, he will use these models, all of them or few of them, for the design purpose. For example, architectural, interfacing, component level designs. This will be done by on the basis of, or from the help from these all requirement modeling. So requirement modeling or requirement engineering, for example, you are making or you have created a software requirement specification. Once you have done, this will be helpful to you also and the customer or the stakeholder. That is, the quality of the software can be assessed. The quality can be verified, validated by the means of the requirement model which has been created. Let us say we have created SRS, Software Requirement Specification.